Welcome to the Bold Goal Crusher podcast for anyone looking to stop letting life get in the way and start crushing bold goals. I'm your host, Sara Mayer, and I'm thrilled to navigate this journey with you because it's time to start boldly achieving without working double time. So let's dive in. Hello, Bold Goal Crushers. Oh, it didn't make the noise. I'm blowing my horn because today is a little celebration of the Bold Goal Crusher podcast. For those of you who've been following along for a long time, you may know that this is the 200th episode. And I am very excited to share this episode with all of you. Now, I know sometimes our bold goals don't happen because I actually was planning on recording this episode with a live audience. However, the best laid plans of men and mice don't always happen. My internet was going in and out, and they were trying to do some updates. Anyway, it's a great celebration. Today, we are going to talk about the past 100 episodes. And I thought it was a good idea to start this journey with how the podcast even got started. Way back when in 2020, around August, I was starting to really dive into my business and to think about my future differently. I knew that I wanted to create a life where I had more freedom and I wasn't tied to a desk 9 to 5 or any of those things. And so when I started working on my business, I knew that I was going to eventually start a podcast. I didn't know what the podcast was going to be about. And then as I started to work with clients, goal setting came up. And I goal setting very differently than other consultants or coaches. And many of my clients had set bold goals before, but had not achieved them. And there were many reasons. They were letting life get in the way, different things were happening. And I knew that goal setting and achievement, high achievement, was something that people needed to have more conversations about. And the idea of creating the Bold Goal Crusher podcast came about. So we celebrated 50 episodes, we celebrated 100 episodes, and now I want to celebrate episode 101 through 199. So let's take a little journey. There are some key highlights from the last 100 episodes, and I always love to share some of the top episodes that really hit home with everyone. The first one was, of course, chronic burnout. That episode has had more listeners. And what I've realized is that everyone is dealing with burnout. And burnout is a real thing. And it's chronic for a lot of people, but it comes and goes for others. And many times it's people who are doing a lot and hitting the gas and then just hitting a wall. Or people who are on the cycle. Every once in a while, they do a ton, they get burned out, then they stop doing stuff, they need a big change. So this episode is a number one listened to episode. And it also has spun off into the number one blog post and a couple articles in Toastmasters magazine. So I'm very excited about that episode. If you haven't checked out that episode, I encourage you to take a listen. It's a great episode. We've had a couple of repeat guests in the last 99 episodes, and one is Nisha Pai. And she came on the show to tell us all about how to set up a strong financial foundation for your business. And what was really cool about this episode is Nisha is actually one of my clients, and I helped her launch her first course because she's on a mission to make sure that women and all people have access to the financial information they need to make good decisions. This episode is a fan favorite. If you haven't listened to this one, take a listen. she just does such a great job. And so I've actually had her on the show twice. Definitely worth a listen. Now we are coming up on the end of the year. The other number one listen to episode is time for some year-end reflections. We know as as the end of the year comes along that there are some year-end reflections that people go through in order to set their year up for success. And because of that, those year-end reflections, that episode is a fan favorite. I do have a worksheet on how to do your year-end reflections, which I'll share in the show notes. And that's a great episode. So those are the top 3 episodes: chronic burnout, setting strong financial foundations, and year-end reflections. So 2 solos and 1 guest episode. And now there were several episodes where we really jumped into some strategies for developing and achieving bold goals. The first one was actually a book club episode. So you may know we have a Bold Goal Crusher book club. And in some of the episodes, I invite listeners and fellow colleagues to jump in and discuss the book we're reading for the month. I do an episode every month on whatever book we're reading. And the one that was really cool was this book, Outwitting the Devil, which is by Napoleon Hill. And this one was annotated by Sharon Lecter. And the discussion regarding it was with Kenyatta Turner. It's a great episode on the book Outwitting the Devil. It talks a lot about why people don't achieve goals. We had such a great discussion about that topic and how goal setters sometimes quit too early. So that was a great strategy for how you can achieve your bold goals. I encourage you to listen to that one. We had a couple financial ones that were chart toppers this last 99 episodes. The next one was The Wealthy Have Real Estate and You Can Too. And this was with Sheena. And this episode, I got a lot of comments about because many people were really into figuring out how to build wealth. And many times the family was not a family that had built wealth, or they were the the frontiers in trying to build wealth. And so this episode received a lot of commentary on email and also some comments on social media about how you can truly build wealth and have real estate and leave a legacy for your family. That was another big episode. Then we had for strategies, the ones that people really jumped into and picked up some tips that they could work on right away. The next one was traditional goal setting doesn't work. And you all know I preach this, that traditional goal setting doesn't work because what happens is we dream big. And then when we try and put it into that smartphone format, our big goal becomes boring and constricted and not exciting. And this episode was packed with real-time tactics on how you might be able to set goals that inspire you and continue to inspire you. And the one thing that was cool, that is cool about this episode is that we talked a lot about bold goals and how the stuff that you truly do want to achieve is big and probably can't be obtained in 1 year. And so sometimes we beat ourselves up that we don't accomplish enough in the year, but we don't really think about the fact that we do accomplish a lot, but the big stuff takes a long time to get there. So it's really breaking that down so we're able to do it. And then I'm so excited because another chart topper for strategies was building an irresistible brand with Katie Soika. Katie is just a breath of fresh air. She's one of my favorite people. I met her while working on another consulting project, and we've just stayed in contact. And Katie also is one of my clients who was building an online course last year. And this episode talks about all the branding that goes along with building your personal brand, but also your business brand. This episode, though, is more than just images and logos. She talks about your voice, your brand voice, how you want to show up, and how you want people to talk about you. And she encouraged the listeners to set a word or a couple of words to describe their brand. So one of mine is bold. And that is what you hopefully hear throughout all of my messages. That's a great episode, Building an Irresistible Brand. Check that one out. And that was probably around January last year. So probably 120 in the episode. Let me check here. I want to say, yeah, like 120. It's in there. I can't find it that quickly. 110. All right. Katie's episode 110. The next one that was packed with strategies was Stepping into the Impossible with Coach Farah. Whoa, this one just action packed. This really talked about courage and having the courage to move forward and to really believe that you can achieve the impossible. And she really broke it down into really realistic steps in how you might achieve the impossible. So I really love that episode. Go ahead and check out that episode, Stepping into the Impossible. And then, of course, we explored just love this one. Mandy Nicholson, Manifesting Castles. Mandy legit manifested her own castle. Like, I'm still mind blown about this episode. I could have listened to Mandy forever. And Mandy first of all, she has an accent, of course, which always sounds amazing, but she wanted to have a castle and she ended up manifesting that. She put it on her vision board. She made it a bold goal and it came true. And that episode, I think, was a really cool episode in showing us what's possible. So check out that episode with Mandy. It's called Manifesting Castles. The next journey and Carmen's episode was all about doing less so that you can experience more. And she talked about how she was able to really look at her life and determine what could she get rid of so that she could experience life to the fullest. And this episode was really about her journey, but also how you might be able to do that yourself. So if you haven't listened to that episode, I love that one. And then this one was another one that really people were really excited about, that not that I was surprised about, but it was more of a story of her journey. And that was with Corrine Phelps, where she talked about untapping potential with hypo breath work. And that episode, she does a little exercise for us, and she talks about how she was able to go from super stressed out to super zen. And she shared some of her journey with us, which was really exciting. There were some other really cool episodes that I can't mention them all or we'd be here all night. But the book club episodes, we had the 12-week year. We talked about that book. I think changed a lot of things for people, where people were able to break their year up into 12-week sprints. And this is a great book to revisit every year. I know Kenyatta Turner, who talked about Outwitting the Devil, she reads this book every year. So definitely take that into consideration. And the other one that was really cool was we talked about The Gap and the Gain in another book series. That was February's book, episode 122. This book, The Gap and the Gain, was interesting because that was with guest Swapna Patel, and we just had a great conversation. And what that book is all about is how sometimes we spend so much time measuring what we haven't done rather than looking at how far we've come. And I think that's super important to remember, that We tend to compare ourselves to people who are in chapter 32 when we're only on chapter 1. So definitely check out that episode on the gap in the gain. That's 122. Some other great books that we talked about the 10 stories great leaders tell, and that was with Jennifer Pinner. That's episode 129, pulling up these episode numbers for you. And that episode was really interesting. That's a book that you should actually work if you have your own business. The book really does break down the stories that people should be telling in their messaging. So the founding story, why we're different story. I can't remember all those stories. There were 10, but that's a book where I actually went down and scripted some of those things to ensure that my message is on point with what I want to tell and that it's consistent. So that was a cool one. And then we had a lot of books last year, which was really cool. Episode 144 was the Ohio and 5-minute rule. That was fan favorite. Ohio is only handle it once. And the 5-minute rule is when you look at your email, if you can handle it in 5 minutes or less, do it right then. So that is episode 144. And then episode hold on, where is it? 162, finding your true dreams and goals. That episode, if you're not sure what you should be doing, that's an exploratory episode, which I encourage you to go through and really think about how you can find your dreams. Many times we talk about people who have these bold goals and we know that they know what they want, but some people aren't sure. So that's a great exploratory episode as well. And then another one that was a chart topper, brand new out to the last couple weeks, last month or so, 199 with Javon Wooden, and that's Procrastination is an Indicator. That episode, charting the charts, and it's a great reminder that there are little indicators all throughout our life, and sometimes when those indicator lights go on, it's time to pay attention. And procrastination can be an indicator of other things, like maybe you're not interested, maybe you're not really focused, maybe you have too much going on or anything like that. So, I just loved the last 99 episodes, and so you may be wondering what's coming up. So, last time that I did this episode, I had a live audience, and I really wanted to have a live audience tonight, but Xfinity had other plans. And so what I will say to you is, first off, I wanna celebrate the fact that 1, you've been along this journey for 200 episodes, so I'm gonna try and blow this horn again. I'm blowing the horn, but it's not doing a thing. If you were at my New Year party, it was hit or miss. Anyway, it's a huge celebration to you because you've made the commitment to focus on your goals, to really align yourself with where you want to be. And the last 200 episodes have been really cool. I didn't know if I was ever going to get to 200 episodes, but now I know that just from your comments that it means so much to me that you listen and you reach out and you share the messages and do all these things. And so obviously the Bold Goal Crusher podcast will continue. I'm always looking for guests. So saramayer.com/podcast. And in the last year, we've had several sponsors. To name a few, we had Anne Macaulay Lopez. She's the agency content writer. We've had Spiffy Links, and I've had a few others. And that really shows to me that people are invested in helping you. And so I'm excited about that. So, what's coming up? We have some action pack episodes coming up that you will get to listen to. Some of them I've already recorded, which is awesome because I work ahead and I try and get ahead of things. So, We do have an episode coming up called The Power of Pause with Selena Johnson. We have Get a Grip on Your Goals with Kirsten Klein. We have Per Love Formula. And then another repeat duo, Girls Mentorship, will be coming up. And then what I really love is the end of the year, we're going to close with an episode on losing on the world stage with guest Sylvia Davis. And I think it's so important to think about when we're winning and we're crushing our goals, how exciting it is, and that we need to celebrate. But we also need to talk about when we don't achieve our goals. So get ready. The next 100 episodes are going to be action packed and absolutely fly by. I can't believe I'm on episode 200, and I want to thank you all for listening. If you haven't taken a moment to subscribe, share, download, review, do all the things for the podcast, I highly encourage you to do that. And then also check us out on YouTube because we do take the video, and all the guest episodes and all the solo episodes that I'm recording from here on out are all on video. And anything from the past that was a guest episode has been loaded. I've been loading them slowly. They should be done by the time this comes out, so you can actually see the people that I'm talking to. And I just truly am thankful. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for going on this journey with me and creating this podcast. It's been a great experience, a great learning experience, and I cannot wait to see where this leads, because this episode or this podcast has meant the world to me. So thank you so much for being on the Bold Goal Crusher journey. And it's time to crush your goals and everything that gets in the way, because you do not need to work double time. So let's get to it. Thank you for tuning in to the Bold Goal Crusher podcast, where we crush goals and everything that gets in the way. I always love to support my community. I look forward to seeing you crush your goals this year.